Welcome into a brand new episode of WSI TV. Enjoy the show.
Welcome into a special edition of WSI TV. I'm Jordan Bishop, and I'm joined today by our executive producer, Jim Sampson. How are you doing today, Jim?
Hi, everybody. Thanks for having me, Jordan.
No problem. We've got a special announcement today. As you can see, we've got Jim's new book here, Riches from God, Decoding God's Plan to Make You Rich. Now, this is going to be exclusively for you in a special way that we'll explain as we move along. But first, I want to get into the content of it, Jim. Now, you know, a lot of people believe that money is the root of all evil. Can you sort of address this, I guess, misconception for us?
Yeah, I think anyone who hears that, I think there's this thing that money and God can't go hand in hand. People think that's like a mutually exclusive concept. I think it's something that people use actually as a convenient thing to hide behind, but it's actually not the case. People say money is the root of all evil, and therefore, and that's what's said in the Bible, so the two aren't compatible. But that's actually a misquoting the Bible. If you actually read the chapter in question, the verse, it says that love of money is the root of all evil. So it's been taken entirely out of context. And of course, I would be the first person to agree that love of money is the root of all evil. We're not obsessed with money or addicted to money, so it's the point it ruins your life. Money is just a functional thing. It's just a means to an end. Mm-hmm. And I think what the Bible is referring to when they talk about love of money being the root of all evil is when you forsake, you know, you'll do anything to get it, you know, at the expense of other human beings and stuff like that. And that's not at all. And if, in fact, what happens in that verse is that I think the disciples actually question this and say, well, you know, what about what we need money, you know, things like that. And Jesus will say, well, that's not what I'm referring to. You know, it's just what I've just described, you know. Right,
yeah, and that is obviously a common misconception. A lot of people think, you know, that the Bible does state money is the root of all evil, and that was one thing I was surprised when I read through this book after you're done with it. You know, obviously we got first read of it, and it's honestly fantastic, great read. You know, you have to get a hold of one. But, you know, that was one thing I was sort of, you know, I didn't realize that it was the love of money is the root of all evil. And it made so much sense as you explain it in there. But that's not the only thing it focuses on, obviously. There is a lot of money-making secrets in there, wealth-building secrets. And I just want you to go through how you came across these secrets. What was the, you know, do you remember the first point where, you know, you realized these secrets were popping out of the Bible at you?
Well, I mean, as an author, Jordan, as you know yourself, you're a writer. I mean, I'm an avid reader of all things. And the Bible is the best-selling book in history, I think. So it was hard to avoid, you know, at some point in my life, you know, reading the world's best-selling book. And you don't have to be, I want to just interject and say, you don't have to be religious or Christian or Muslim or anything like that to enjoy or not enjoy what I'm talking about. Because when I was reading the Bible, it was what was intriguing is how it wasn't just, you know, an explanation of fables and stories and religious ideas. It was surprising how, firstly, money was one of the most talked about things, and I think that's what most people don't realize, especially in the Old Testament. It's just full of talk about money and wealth and riches. And by the way, you know, yes, things like wine and women and, you know, wisdom about, you know, marriage and all kinds of things that you just don't expect to be in the Bible. You know, you've got to remember that the Bible is a collection of parables and stories and things, but in some cases put there by some of the richest men in history, people like King Solomon, who are, you know, known household names just not for making money, but also timeless wisdom. And the fact that, you know, there's a whole chapter there by him is obviously was very intriguing. But the other thing was a repetition of certain numbers that kept appearing in a certain way at certain times was very intriguing to me. You know, certain numbers like 10, 7, for example, seemed to have meaning, and that triggered me into going much deeper into, you know, what was behind these verses, you know. Right,
and I mean, even just flipping through the book, when you look at the chapter headlines, I mean, you can't put it down, you know. It's literally, you see the Solomon Code, the wealth building, the numbers that you're talking about that we can't give too much away with right now.
But what I was trying to do there, Jordan, is, you know, I mean, I didn't want this to just be like a dry theory book that you know, like a novel or the typical non-fiction book where you kind of have to just sort of, you know, get through it, and a lot of chit chat. It's an instruction manual,
right?
You know, it's a 1, 2, 3. You know, let's just get straight down to it, and here there is, and it's a thick book, and that just tells you how much there is in it, because there's no fat in there, as you picked up on.
Right.
It's an instruction guide for life, frankly.
Right. Yeah. I mean, yeah. And it's very interactive. You know, it's not like it's not one-sided. You know, you constantly have the reader engaged, and I know you ask for the reader to figure out their freedom figure. That's one thing, and there's a line in there, you're writing in yourself and everything. And you use the freedom chart, you know, where your expenses cross your passive income, and that is when you say is the true point of freedom.
Yes, and I think that's very important, and there's passages in the Bible that I relate to everything, by the way. But when one of your first steps is, because I think a lot of people, they say, I just want money. You know, I just want to make more money. I just I was rich, but they don't actually know where they are, or where they need to get to, or what. There's no plan. There's no plan. You know, and one thing that really comes out in the Bible, you know, it talks about planning and being meticulous and things like that. And the thing you're talking about is, okay, so what is financial freedom? You know, we hear this word all the time, but I put it into a chart and says, well, this is what financial freedom, and it's different for everyone. This is what your financial freedom means, because we all have a different idea about how we want to live. You know, some people want to live up here with expenses, some people want to live down here with expenses. So you just, you know, you figure out what you want, and and then so how much money do we want to make? How much money do we have to? Well, we have to make enough to cover our living expenses, right? But we don't want to have to work, because we can't work forever. We want to have what I call a passive income. So this is money that just comes in on autopilot regardless. So your financial freedom, to steal a bit of thunder from the book, is the point at which you have as much passive income coming in as you do expenses to meet. When that happens, and you truly can retire, and you're financially free.
Right, and again, this chart shows up multiple times in the book. You know, it really makes sense as you see it. We're not going to reveal it right here, because this is exclusively for people who do claim their copy of the book. But there's 3 building blocks to this financial freedom number, and they come through business, stocks, and real estate. Can you talk about some of the connections between those? A lot of people like to separate them, but
yes, right, it's a good point. Yeah, so you've found what your freedom figure is, as you call it. You know, this is how much passive income I need to get to. So then, well, how do you get there? And then the confusion starts all over again. Well, then there's what I call the 3 pillars of wealth. You've really, apart from, you know, winning the lottery, which you can't really control, or inheriting it, which you can't really control, there's really, or stealing it, which I definitely don't recommend. You know, there are 3 ways, only 3 ways to get there, and you can choose one, or preferably all of them, and that is your own business, stocks and shares, and real estate. And all 3 are covered in the book, in terms of how the Bible teaches you how to time these things, how to get in, you know, do it just right. So those are what I call the 3 pillars, and you just have to. You don't have to, you know, separate them. It says, well, I don't like real estate, or some people say, I want to get rich, but I don't like real estate, I don't like stocks, and I don't want to have my own business. Well, then you're pretty screwed then. You know?
Right. Yeah.
So, you know, you've got to pick at least one. But here's the catch-22: is that, well, you know, I'm going to need some. I mean, having said that, I do teach you how to do like zero down stuff in real estate, and how to trade up into stocks using as little as like $100. You know. Right. Yeah. But you know, ultimately, it's great to have some capital behind you to do all those things, and that's where business comes in. You know, which is something else that I talk about a lot. So make money from business. You invest it in real estate. You invest it in stocks, trade it, let it passively grow using, again, the big thing in that is talk about passive growth. Right. Yeah. Is in there too.
Yeah, I mean, obviously these are the building blocks to wealth, and you can use them interchangeably, as Jim said. You know, you don't have to use all 3 at once. Is there one that you use right now more than the others? I mean, are you involved in the stock market more than real estate at the moment? Or?
Well, I mean, yes. So business obviously is just ongoing. Right. I mean, we're sitting in one right now. Yeah. So that is, you know, that. But I think if we talk like a kind of current view on things, then, you know, real estate is. We talk about timing the big cycles of real estate and how to. And the Bible spookily has predicted all of the ups and downs of the real estate market. So being positioned in the real estate market at the right time of the cycle is critical. as well as a few other things that you go into there. So real estate is kind of just something that just happens, and one of the things I go into there is about doing it with, you know, zero down and stuff like that. Stock market is a particularly interesting story right now, because probably the easiest and probably signature system of the book explains how to it goes back for 35 years tested, and you trade an average of 0.6 times a year, and you end up with a 36% a year return.
Wow, yeah.
And that's just one of the systems, and that is based on the numbers I've spotted in the Bible, almost like a kind of biblical wealth code. It's embedded in there that I've brought into the stock market, and with a spooky accuracy.
Right.
It's predicted every single bull market right at the beginning, and it's told you exactly when to get out right before the bear market began. And right now we're sitting in a prediction that this code made almost a year ago to the day, when it said there's a brand new bull market.
Right.
And here we are sitting, and the stocks are up. The stock market is up 20%, 20 something like that.
Yeah, definitely.
Which, I mean, using the way the system I teach you, that would mean you would have been up 60%. And if you've been trading options the way we teach you to, 500% easy.
Yeah, I mean, that number is really limitless right now. I mean, there's one thing I loved about this book after going through it. It is timeless, you know, it talks about these cycles, you know, but you need to be ready for when these cycles come around. This isn't just something that's going to work for you right now. Again, Jim said, 35 years of back testing. I mean, it's worked every time, you know, it makes you this money. It's really incredible.
You'll never see another bear market. In 2008 will never happen to you again.
Right.
You can guarantee it with this book, you know.
Yeah, and I mean, I can vouch for that, definitely. It's just incredible the way it predicts the market movements. And now there is this secret that we're talking about. We are offering to teach you this, and I know, Jim, you like to call it your weird new trick to clean up with. Can you tell us a little something about how we're going to get this in the hands of our viewers? Yeah,
so the system I was just telling you about, it's like, I do call it a kind of weird trick, because it is so crazy. Like, you know, you only have to trade 0.6 times a year and get 36% a year. It sounds, and it's weird because it's so simple,
right,
to use, and so hands off. I mean, if you think about it, trading not even once a year to achieve this, it's pretty amazing. So because of that, you clean up with one trade.
Right.
So it's this weird new trick, we use to clean up with one trade, and it's the most sure thing I've ever known, and that's why that's a key thing in the book, which I'm going to be giving in the hand, signed copy in the hand of anyone who comes to this year's annual Wealth Summit here in sunny Central Florida, Orlando. And that's only going to be, Jordan knows about this more, he's the publisher of more of these things, but it's only going to be available at this time, if at all, only to attendees, right, initially, right?
Yeah, again, this book is yours free if you attend the seminar. There's no purchase for this book. You know, we don't have any plans to release it as of right now. The secrets are that powerful. We want to get it in the hands of our most valued subscribers first and foremost. But again, you can learn about this secret and all the other secrets. Obviously, that's not the only one. There's plentiful.
It's a very thick book, and this secret doesn't take that long to explain because it's so simple. Exactly. But what I love about this book is that it takes, if someone's just starting out, they haven't got the first clue, they just know they want to improve their lives, they want to break out, they want to get free. This takes you from, on a journey from rags to riches, from zero to whatever you want it to be, right, and covering everything there is to cover in the most simple way imaginable,
Right, yeah. Again, I mean, I can vouch for it, but we want to get it in your hands. We want you to get a hold of this secret. And you can do that by going to richesfromgod.com. The URL is up on your screen right now. Just type that in the domain bar on the top of your website, and you'll see more about this secret. We'll reveal a tiny bit more to you guys when you go to that website. But that's how you reveal your spot. You claim your spot, and that's how you claim your copy of this book. Jim, I have to thank you for joining us today.
Thank you for having me, and I hope to put this in your hands, signed copy, on December the
2nd and
3rd here in Orlando. I'm looking forward to meeting you and explaining more about it.
Right, so claim your copy right now, and we'll see you then.
Thanks for watching the latest episode of WSI TV. Be sure to visit WSITV.com where you can subscribe for free with no contract and gain instant access to the secrets of self-made millionaires via the WSI TV Vault. So go ahead and claim this gift for free now at WSITV.com.